Okay, everyone, my apologies on this one. I had completed this example and then I realized I hadn't hit record yet. So everything is written here just so I'll explain everything. Okay, so first of all, the reaction is ammonia plus nitric acid making ammonium nitrate. So something like this that's not a regular double displacement or neutralization reaction, I will always give you a description that that is what's being produced. Okay, so I would not expect you to know that this was a synthesis reaction. Okay, so like in the words of the equation, it will describe that properly. So we have the volume of our ammonia, which was 20, so pardon me. So we have the volume of the gas at STP. So a reminder that STP is 22.4 liters per mole, right? So by having that information, we can actually solve for the number of moles that way. And we have that gas going into 500 mils of water. So what I did right here is I calculated the concentration of ammonia. So you have your volume of gas. Here's our 1 mole for every 22.4 liters. And of course, so that would give us moles, and that is in 500 milliliters, which is 0.5 liters. So that, in that respect, we calculated the concentration. They told us that a 20 milliliter sample of that gas was being titrated, and we had the concentration of HNO3 that was given to us. And we're looking for the concentration of, the volume of HNO3. So the part that's different here than the other examples we just finished going through is this section right here. So using STP and the molar ratio for the gas, the volume of the gas to figure out the concentration is really what's different about this scenario. So the other one was different in that we had to use the pH to do that, right? And then here we have a volume of the gas at STP. So that's what's a little bit different here. The next category or scenario you're going to come across is determining the molar mass of an unknown reactant. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So we have a 3.648 gram sample of an unknown monoprotic acid. So a monoprotic acid just basically means it's like a binary acid that has only one proton. So for example, like hydrochloric acid is a good example of this. Plus, let's see, what is it being titrated with? So we have a volume and concentration of NaOH. So we have NaOH, and then this is going to become water and NaCl, or I just put A in this case. Okay, so we have the volume of the NaOH, 125 liters, and the concentration given. Okay, and we have the volume given for the amount that was titrated, so the 25 milliliters. Now, ultimately, the goal of this is we want to calculate the molar mass of this acid. In order to do that, we need to have the concentration. Okay, so they gave us all this information about the mass and the original volume of the solution, but we can't really do anything with that until we find out the concentration. Because once we have our moles per liter, we can figure out how many moles is in the original sample, and then we can do the grams per mole, which is essentially what molar mass is. So let's take a look at this. So now this portion here is going to be like normal, like what we've been doing all along. The different part is going to be now at the end of this. So moles of NaOH, we do C times V, which is going to end up being 1.38 times 10 to the negative 3 moles. Okay, this is a 1-to-1 ratio. So our moles we have. And then we're going to find the concentration of the HA by doing N over V. So this is going to be 1.38 times 10 to the negative 3 moles over 0.025 liters. So this concentration here is 0.0552 moles per liter. Okay, so now we have to find, so this concentration is for the solution that was made. But ultimately we want to know what is the grams per mole for that compound, right? The molar mass, right? That's our molar mass. So we have the gram value given, but we need the mole value of the original solution. Like how many moles went into that 750 mils? But since we know the concentration, moles per liter, we can multiply that to determine how many moles was in there. So this ends up being 0.0414 moles. So we have the original moles. So now we can figure out the molar mass by doing 3.6. Oh my goodness. Sorry. 3.648 grams per 0.0414 moles, which gives us the molar mass of 88.12 grams per mole. Okay, so the new part is the portion at the end, right? This right here. So the portion at the beginning, where you're just trying to solve for the unknown concentration, that's as per usual. But it's the finding out of the grams per mole, the molar mass, which is different. Okay, so let's take a look at another one. So similar, okay, the only difference here is instead of them giving us the volume that was used, this is the very, same thing that we've seen before, where they're going to give us the data trials, right? So we have the mass. We don't need that till the end, of an unknown diprotic acid now. So this would be like as if when we had 2 protons, right? So that's important because then the ratio is different. So we are titrating it with that concentration of NaOH, which is then going to make water and Na2A, right? So we're going to need 2 and 2. Okay, so of the three volumes, this one I would say is our outlier, right? So to get an average here, so the average of this, the volume, actually I'll just write it down here. The average is going to be 37.35, so 0.03735 liters, and we have the concentration, 2115. We know the volumes in the standard reactions below, calculate the molar mass, Okay. Oh! So what's funny is they didn't give us any volumes. So we're going to assume that gram samples dissolved in water and titrated. So we're just going to assume that we as long as if we know the 2-to-1 ratio, we should be able to do this. Okay, let's do this. So moles is going to be C times V. That's why. Okay, so C times V. So we figure out the moles here. So this is going to be 7.91 times 10 to the negative 3 moles. And because this is a 2-to-1 ratio, so really it's like this, we would have half of the mole value. So your moles of H2A would be half of that, which is 3.954 times 10 to the negative 3 moles. So we don't have to do the business of finding the original mole value because it's saying that this was just straight up titrated. So we have our moles. So to do grams per mole, we're simply going to take our gram value and divide it by that. So we have, so the molar mass is grams per mole, right? So the gram value here is 0.375 grams divided by the moles, which would give us a molar mass value of, and we need 3 sig figs, 94.9 grams per mole. Okay. And then this last one actually is the exact same as the question number 1 that we did. So C number 1. So you have a mass of a monoprotic base in this case, but it's the same thing. It was diluted, and then a 25 ml sample of this was titrated with a concentration of HCl, and we have the volume, right? So it'd be like, I don't know, BOH, because we know that it's a base, plus HCl would make H2O plus BCl, right? So we have the, we were missing the concentration of this. The volume is 25 mils. The concentration here is 0.05115. And then the volume is the 17.49 mils. So you do the exact same thing. You find the concentration. Then you get, so you find your N. So pardon me, so C times V. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, so that's going to be the same. You find your C. You need the original number of moles in the 250 mils, and then you can figure out the molar mass. So the molar mass here should end up being 285 grams per mole. Okay, so see the first example that we did in this little block. Okay, lastly, percent purity. Okay, so percent purity is something different we haven't seen. So this is where you have a solid sample that may have some impurities in it. So when you do the titration, when you have something reacting with something else, right, to make something else. If you have a mass that is recorded at 5 grams, let's say, and if only, let's say, 4.8 out of that 5 grams is pure, when we do the calculations to determine what you should get in theory, it's not going to match what you actually get. Because what happens is when you're calculating it out, you're using the mass that is including those impurities. Like we think, okay, it's 5.00 grams of X. But in real life, the reality might be it could be 4.8 grams of X, not 5. So in real life, the amount you actually do get in the reaction is going to be different than maybe what you originally calculate. And that's actually part of the reason why, oh, there's like a motorcycle going by. But that's actually part of the reason why when you do percent yield, and you learned about that last year, but percent yield is never 100%. You will never have 100% yield. And this is actually one of the reasons why. Because we think that reactants are pure when we're using them to do reactions, but they're actually not. So what we're going to be doing here, just to set this up, so percent purity is going to be the actual mass of the pure solute, and we're going to get that information from the titration results, divided by the given mass. So this is like the mass that you would get originally from the question that you're going to be using to calculate it. So you have your actual, another way of thinking about this is it's your actual concentration. So you can do this with mass, or you can discuss percent purity with concentration. It's the same thing. It's like the concentration that you get actually from the results compared to what you should have gotten based on the theory. Okay, now obviously the closer to 100% you are, the more pure your sample is. So let's take a look at the examples in the next